everyone, my story is continuing on, so I'm gonna continue to tell my story. All right, so where were we? I think my baby girl, I think that we had talked about all the way up to her first birthday. My daughter's first birthday. It wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't very big, but I was happy that I was able to give her a cake. But yeah, I was talking about, I know that I told you about life choices and how they would help me get really cute outfits for my daughter. I would watch a parenting course and then I would get a really cute outfit. Or I would watch a parenting class and I could get diapers and wipes and stuff like that I needed for my daughter. And then whenever I had moved down to, I guess we'll call it the college city. I don't know what I was calling it before, but the college city, I looked for a life choices there and I did find a life choices there. And oh my goodness. Okay. So I know that I've said this multiple times in my story, and it's really interesting because like as I go through my story, I really am healing with myself, because whenever I first started my teenage self, now I look at my teenage self as, like I didn't look at her as so innocent. I didn't look at her as sweet and innocent at all. And I kind of looked at her with contempt, and is that the right word? But I looked at her, like I didn't like myself. I haven't ever liked myself. I really never have. So this is helping me learn to like myself. And like I've always said, I don't like making excuses for bad behavior and for wrong behavior, but I do like to understand why bad behavior happens. And so I do try to give my reasons, which reasons are excuses. They are. But I really have I look at my teenage self different. Now I'm getting into my 20-year-old self and I'm remembering things that I've done, and I'm not proud, you guys. I can't sit here and say, "Look what I've accomplished. I am so proud." No, any accomplishments that my children make are probably despite me, not because of me. So I don't know. I wasn't the best. I really wasn't. So I was going to Life Choices in College City too, and Brianna showed me how she gets diapers, and she basically stole them. She would have a whole cart full of groceries and stuff, and she would put the diapers in the bottom. She always made sure she had the money, but she never would remember to tell the lady. And most of the time, she was able to push them through and get free diapers. And I started doing that. And it was easier than going to Life Choices, honestly. I don't think that that's the right thing to do, but I did do that. And another thing, I don't know if I believe, that all girls have a hoe phase or anything like that, but if I had a hoe phase, this was it. I I basically I slept with quite a few people, not a whole lot, like 4 guys, which for me was a lot. It basically doubled my number. Up until then, I had only slept with 4 guys, and I don't count the gang rape. But and the 4 guys, it was totally different. I don't know. I was dating guys, and I ended up sleeping with a few of them. I don't know. I don't think that I should have to make excuses for it, I was single and I had a baby, and I don't know. If I ever had a hoe phase, this was definitely it. And I was on birth control. I was on birth control and I was going to college. I was on academic suspension, which meant that I needed to get my grades up in order to continue on, or I wasn't going to, and I really wasn't getting my grades up, you know. And I started out the spring semester living with my uncle, who was a police officer, and I was a pothead, and I also smoked cigarettes. I would go outside and I'd smoke cigarettes, and I would smoke a little bit of a joint, and I mean, I always have been a pothead. It calms me down. My brain goes 90 to nothing, and whenever I smoke, I feel like I'm on even kill. I'm able to slow my brain down a little bit. But I've learned over the years, now that I'm older, I've learned how to slow my brain down on my own. I don't need that, you know? But, back then I did. And my uncle, he always brings up the fact my daughter spilt some juice, or maybe she peed on the carpet. I don't know. She did something on the carpet, and I went to clean it up, and I cleaned it up with bleach, and so it was a white spot right there, like forever, like probably still to this day. There's a white spot there. So I did do that during that time. But I didn't last with him very long. Obviously, I was not comfortable there, and Rory, he told me that I could move in with him if I would just pay part of the light bill, and we were able to situate it to where I could move in with him. And so I did. Me and my baby girl moved in with Rory, and I stayed with him that semester. But I didn't ever sleep with him, but he had boyfriends also, and we had some parties too. But yeah, I was a hoe. I really was. Was sleeping around, and meanwhile, Brianna and Mark are not getting along at all. They were not getting along at all, and they were kind of on again, off again, trying to make it work for the baby, but that's about it. And I had a chance. Well, I was on birth control. I had been on birth control, and it was, very important to me. I just gotten my body back. My baby girl breastfed until she was 10 months old, and then I weaned her. And she would not take the bottle. I remember she did not take the bottle at all. And I talked to the doctor, and the doctor said some babies go straight from breast to sippy cup. And so I gave her a sippy cup, and she loved her sippy cup. And so she went straight from breast to sippy cup, and I couldn't breastfeed her no more once she was asking for my boot. I was like, no, that's a little bit weird. So I moved her up to sippy cup. My daughter is, I know I'm very biased, but my daughters are geniuses. And my daughter was a genius, and she just, she always knew what she was doing. And all my friends called her the little gremlin. And I was like, why do y'all call her a gremlin? They're like, she is, look at her. I was like, she looks like an adorable little genius to me. But yeah, I weaned my daughter at 10 months old, and that was the first semester. And then now in the spring semester, see, I'm so all over the place with my story, but it is what it is. I like that, actually, and I'll tell you why towards the end. But so yeah, I was on birth control that spring semester because I knew that I did not want another baby, and I knew that I was highly fertile, and it was very possible that I could have another baby really quickly. And I was no longer breastfeeding, and I was on the patch, and I had an allergic reaction. And because of that, they asked me to discontinue using it, and I made an appointment. Because the reason why I'm telling you guys all this is I remember clearly the timelines and the timetables, and you'll see why that's so important. But it was February that my patch malfunction happened, and I got my appointment in April. I knew I had an appointment to get my birth control back in order in April. Well, from there, because I don't have any birth control for from February to April, so that's a couple months. That's enough that you can get pregnant in. So what I had to do is I had to track my cycle in order to make sure that I would not be pregnant. And there was this party that I was at, and Mark was there. Brianna wasn't there at all. And he told me that they were fighting. We were partying all night long into the morning hours, and I had just gotten off my period. It was right at the beginning of March. I'd just gotten off my period like the day before, so I was feeling a little hoish. I really was, and I ended up sleeping with Mark. And I don't know if I regret it or not, but I did. But I do know that I felt okay because it was right after my period, and right after your period, you're less likely to get pregnant. Well, this was the beginning of March, and spring break was coming up, and I wasn't expecting it at all, but at the beginning of spring break, Zach called me. Zach calls me at the beginning of spring break and says, "Hey, do you want to meet up? I want to talk to you about being a family, about raising my daughter and being there." And it was weird because he'd never claimed her before. I was like, what's going on? I find out later what's going on is, like I said earlier, the DNA test has to be done. But I was naive, and now we're at 2 weeks. Like I said, my period stopped. Now we're at 2 weeks from it. I'm ovulating. But I wasn't expecting to just get back with him at all. And I go, I was like, okay, I'll go. I'll meet you. It's spring break. We can meet. And so I go to Spring City to meet him, and he didn't show up. I waited and waited and waited, and he did not show up. So I decided to go to my brother's house. My brother now had a newborn baby, and he was so adorable. And they had a party, and we were drinking Hulk Hogan's, or like a green drink, and I was drinking most of the night. Lily was there with remember my friend from Spring City that I was telling you about, my brother's friend who had a baby that was Lily's age. She was there, and they were just like best friends and having a blast together. There was tons of people there watching, and it was just, we had a blast. And yeah, I partied, pretty much all night long. I went to bed about 4 in the morning, and I would have slept most of the day with my baby. My first baby, she was a sleeper. That's why I say you should definitely get a baby like her for first, because she was a sleeper. And yeah, I knew that she would. But Zach ends up waking me up at 7 in the morning and is like, "I'm so sorry. I just got so scared. Please come and see me." And so I go and see him, and he was like, "You look a mess." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was partying last night. So what?" But he holds that against me for years, y'all. Whatever. But I'll tell you more on the next one. That's enough for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. And as always, be blessed with love. My story. That's all she got.